2022, to me, is defined by the year where these central banks, these nincompoops, frankly, think they're going to be able to get out of this hole that they've dug themselves into. So they're going to try to retrench. They're going to try to slow down the Ferrari, which is literally going to hit a wall because there's no brakes. Okay, we have 310 trillion of global debt, sovereign debt. Okay, that doesn't include pensions and 401ks, et cetera, globally. So in my view, 2022 is the year of the experiment. They're going to try to reduce liquidity. And so my prediction for prices is the Ethereums, the Solanas of the world will be up a 20-25%. Why? I'll tell you why. Because of adoption. Because if I'm building a farm, I have to buy fertilizer to create productive assets. So Faith Tribe is a farm of creating productive assets. My fertilizer is Ethereum, Polygon, maybe in the future Solana. So those are my fertilizers. I have to buy them. So in my view, it's kind of like the Facebook, Googles. Their stock goes up with earnings growth. For me, I believe these great ecosystem coins, blockchain coins, are going to be able to grow with adoption. But the low-hanging fruit's behind us. I think 2023, post-election, that's when you're just going to get this explosive growth.
Today's interview is brought to you by the Faith Tribe, democratizing fashion and the Metaverse, an open source design platform to empower and reward independent creators in the Metaverse and physical realm. That's right, they have a well-established brand here at Faith Connexion. They've been in business for 21 years out of Paris, and they're doing big things, now incorporating the Metaverse and NFTs to their fashion line. I highly recommend you check it out for yourself. They also have some tokenization you can learn more about. Check the show notes below the video in the description for more details, and do note this is a paid sponsorship, so please do your own research. Hey, what's good, crypto fam? JV back with some bonus content. I got a very special interview to share with you today. Right now I have Wahid Chammas in the house. He is the lead over at this pretty amazing fashion disruptor entitled Faith Tribe, and it's ultimately fashion and the Metaverse and converting fashion into NFTs. And it's a topic I have no knowledge about. So what's good, Wahid? How you doing today, fam?
Excellent. How are you? Great to be here.
Yeah, doing awesome. I'm glad to have you out here. I appreciate you coming and sharing with my audience. So why don't we start with a little bit about your background and how you discovered cryptocurrency?
Great. So I'm in the private equity business. We own many different companies, actually 38 overall, of which a third are in the fashion and fashion tech space. And really, we've been through a very wretched experience in Corona. And there's a lot to talk about there, but we did a lot to help our company survive what was a very, very difficult ordeal. Faith Connexion and Faith Tribe as one of the great examples. And I spent 26 years in capital markets, be it on the private equity side and the mutual fund side and public markets. And really the blockchain and crypto was something I have to admit shamelessly, I was extremely skeptical about for many, many years. And, I followed it since, 2015. But really, funny enough, it was the pandemic where, the haves and have-nots were very clearly delineated. And, the Federal Reserve and all these central banks, et cetera, really sort of ramped up this huge stimulus. But, I would say the majority, if not all, of that benefit went to big companies that had certain access. And funny enough, when we were doing some fundraising, et cetera, a lot of luminaries in the crypto space approached us and says, you've got some very neat things in this company and that company, and you really should embrace the blockchain and tokenize this and that. And so really, I didn't come to your world out of speculation. I came to your world out of necessity and adoption. And that to me is important because everything we're doing now in our projects is all about adoption, utility, really making our company better. We have a 21-year-old company. We've been in the business for a while. So we are now adopting blockchain as a solution to issues. as opposed to spec or whatever, which was frankly kind of my impression growing up with this over the last 5, 6 years.
Right on. And so is the future of fashion all metaverse and digital? Is that what brought you to tokenizing this project specifically?
Actually, specifically why we tokenize is very unique to our story. And then I'll touch on the metaverse. So Faith Connexion is a very high-end brand, 21 years old, based in Paris. But what really made Faith Connexion very unique was, unlike Prada, Chanel, and all these other great brands, they're very exclusive. You know, they ooze exclusivity. Faith Connexion, its DNA was always very inclusive. We always embraced what we call open source fashion design. We allow anyone to collaborate and work with our fashion designers and basically be able to collaborate, customize, and be able to put their own imprint. And so we got a lot of great feedback about a year ago that this open source fashion that we do should be tokenized. It could be a great ecosystem for would-be designers, artists, and that's how we led to the blockchain. The metaverse kind of exploded in the last few months, and obviously we're a huge play on that because, again, we're not the big gorilla company that sort of wants to dominate, et cetera. We're all about the little guy. We're all about empowering independent designers and artists to be able to customize their own fashion, create their own brands, and then we'll help them put that on the metaverse and physically produce their product. So we're a play on the physical NFTs as well as the digital. Excuse me, I'm also going to get my earpiece. I apologize.
All good. I appreciate you breaking that down. And I was checking out Faith Connexion, and that's a beautiful website, a beautiful, already very successful brand. Are you the founder of that, or how did you get involved in the first place?
So great. No, I'm not the founder. The company is 21 years old. Actually, the designers that really made Faith Connexion very famous came out of Balmain, and Paco Rabanne really did great things with those two brands. So I'm in the private equity business. I was a creditor of the company, and I bought the company with my partner, Maria Buccelatti, who really helped create the brand about a year and a half ago. And this pivot to the blockchain is really Faith Connexion being the mother native brand, but Faith Tribe is finally, Justin, it's for 21 years we've been helping independent artists and what have you design clothes under our umbrella. But the blockchain and Web3 technologies is finally allowing us to scale that. So we couldn't scale because it's just, how do you go and get independent artists in New York, Tokyo, Shanghai, et cetera? You need a lot of manpower. Whereas with the blockchain and Web3 technologies, we're able to harness a system, and using a lot of the companies that I'm invested in, to help designers come in, design their own clothes, mint NFTs, physical and digital. We do their on-demand manufacturing in Italy and Portugal and elsewhere in Europe, and we finally sell it digitally on the Farfetches of the world, et cetera. So that's the ecosystem we're building on Web3 now, and really Faith Tribe is a currency that sort of binds us all together. But my motto is that we are going to be able to make any independent fashion designer commercial within 5 to 6 weeks as soon as they come into our ecosystem. That, Justin, did not exist 5-10 years ago. Your great designer would just be sending resumes to try and get on board with a brand, and in 10 years may get his or her design noticed. Now we finally have a way to democratize fashion and give the people the tools, again using Web3 technologies, in order to for them to be commercial very quickly.
Democratizing fashion. I love that. And I noticed that on the website as well. Who would you say your biggest competitors are, if any, in the space right now?
Great question, Justin. So fashion, that industry is $3 trillion. Okay. Funny enough, 70% of the manpower are independents. 25 to 30% are like the big brands that but the value is completely lopsided. So when you look at revenue, of the 3 trillion, 85% is big brands and 15% is independent. And very few, actually, I can't think of any, of the very high-end brands that have been in existence have embraced the independence. So we're a high-end brand. We have very, star designers that have built great companies, but they have this open umbrella where anyone can come in, a street artist, and put their imprint and create their own design. And so our addressable market is like literally 450 billion. And I don't see a competitor taking that 450 billion and giving it, the access to our sourcing, our manufacturing, the Farfetches of the world, the technology that we have, et cetera. So I'm empowering the little person. It's a huge addressable market, but it's a David and Goliath kind of thing, right? So yeah, we're definitely we're definitely rooting for the underdog here, and I don't see a competitor.
I dig it.
A lot of competitors in Metaverse, but not on that.
Oh, yeah, I got you. And I'm definitely rooting for the underdog, of course. And I love what you're doing, really empowering independent creators to, do big things. And obviously a $3 trillion market cap is, pretty big market to tap into, and to not have any competition and to tackle 450 billion of that. It's a big feat ahead. Also want to point out, love your watch. Very nice piece you got there. Beautiful. And let's talk a little bit about Bitcoin. What's your
Justin? I want you to like my jacket. That's a Faith Connection jacket, not the watch.
I love the jacket. The jacket's beautiful too. You got to send me one.
All right.
What are your thoughts on Bitcoin and the market? Do you have any predictions that you would like to share? Let's say for peak cycle high for 2022.
Yeah. So Justin, my answer is going to be two-pronged. Okay. The first answer is going to be very boring. All right. And the second answer is going to be very exciting. So 2022, unfortunately, for a lot of these, is going to be a very mixed but very boring year, in my view. And I'll explain that in a second. And then 2023 is going to be explosive for, unfortunately, kind of the wrong reasons, but it's going to be explosive. So when you think about, and by the way, funny enough, crypto is not an uncorrelated asset. Crypto, I have found to be extremely in line with my experience with capital markets, bond markets, equity markets, and the private equity and VC world. So when you think about the last 2 years, what have we faced this huge bounty of liquidity. All right, this taking it to 37 trillion total balance sheet amongst all central banks. For me, that was a low-hanging fruit. All boats arise. Of course, you couple that with the adoption in crypto, et cetera, especially the great coins like, the Ethereum, the Solanas, the Polygons of the world, infrastructure that I'm using, all right, in order for me to build my company, all right? And I'll talk about that in a second. So the easy money has happened. 2022, to me, is defined by the year where these central banks, these nincompoops, frankly, think they're going to be able to get out of this hole that they've dug themselves into. So they're going to try to retrench. They're going to try to slow down the Ferrari, which is literally going to hit a wall because there's no brakes. Okay, we have 310 trillion of global debt, sovereign debt. Okay, that doesn't include pensions and 401ks, et cetera, globally. And 100 basis points, which is sort of what you look at in terms of the yield curve, over a year, or actually 2 years. Yeah, people think 100 basis points, okay, which basically in terms of interest rates globally, if you think globally, 100 basis points, which is nothing, it's nothing. It's like a tiny tap on the speedometer of a Ferrari, right? That alone, is 3 trillion, okay? That's a huge chunk of GDP. So in my view, 2022 is the year of the experiment. They're going to try to reduce liquidity. And so my prediction for prices is that the Ethereums, the Solanas of the world will be up a 20-25%. Why? I'll tell you why. Because of adoption. Because if I'm building a farm, I have to buy fertilizer to create productive assets. So Faith Tribe is a farm of creating productive assets. My fertilizer is Ethereum, Polygon, maybe in the future Solana. So those are my fertilizers. I have to buy them. So in my view, it's kind of like the Facebook, Googles. Their stock goes up with earnings growth. For me, I believe these great ecosystem coins, blockchain coins, are going to be able to grow with adoption. But the low-hanging fruit's behind us. Bitcoin, store of value, I think its adoption is going to grow 5, 10, 15%. So, maybe Bitcoin is 60, 65,000 end of 2022, Ethereum around 4,800 to 5,000. Those price targets are not exciting. That's why I say it's going to be an okay year, but not exciting. 2023, that experiment is going to fail, Justin. Okay? They are in a hole. That's 310 trillion of debt, and that's recognized sovereign debt. Forget the hidden libraries. I mean, that's going to be 320, 330 trillion. No one's going to be able to raise rates. We're stuck. The moment there's going to be a correction, the moment in any, be it equity markets, capital markets, et cetera, they're going to retrench. And this time, when central banks, when people call their bluff, I think 2023, post-election, that's when you're just going to get this explosive growth for the wrong reasons. Remember, I said for the wrong reasons. Real estate, a loaf of bread, crypto, you name it. Anything with utility, adoption, et cetera, I think is just going to explode. And so there, my price targets are kind of like, I believe, to build a home, you're gonna need $10,000. You're gonna need, around 25,000 a square foot, just in terms of the hard assets. Crypto, Bitcoin, 100,000. I mean, the sky's the limit, just. But I think 2022 is going to be a boring year for all capital markets, and crypto is not going to escape that.
Right on. First and foremost, I love the metaphors using some of these like Polygon, Solana as like fertilizer, and you need it for your business to grow. And your prediction is interesting because we all know the wheels are eventually going to fall off. They can't just print money to infinity, right? So you're thinking basically the wheels fall off in 2023, hyperinflation occurs, and mass adoption into cryptocurrency to hedge against that inflation. Is that accurate?
Yeah, I mean, I will say, Justin, that people, I'm going to give you one. I'm going to give you one little tidbit. So 2022 is going to be the year. In my old world, I spent as a mutual fund manager for a very long time. We call it the year of stock selection. So, alpha, not beta. What does that mean? It means that the low-hanging fruit, all tides rise. I think that's behind us. In 2022, how can you not get, if I was bearish just on Ethereum, it doesn't matter. In my Faith Tribe project, I'm buying Ethereum. I'm buying Polygon. I'm a forced buyer. And I'm not bearish, but even if I was bearish, I'm a forced buyer. You want to play with NFTs, you want to be on the metaverse, you want to follow, Mark Zuckerberg's dream, you're a forced buyer. Okay, so those are the fertilizers. And so in my view, you're going to get a differentiation between, the meme coins that are zero fertilizer, 100% geared towards liquidity. When the liquidity gets retrenched, you're going to see those. And by the way, the meme stocks, not just the meme cryptos. I believe cryptos and stock markets, unlike a lot of people there that say it's uncorrelated, they're very correlated. Meme stocks, meme cryptos are going to have a rude awakening in 2022, but real utility coins are going to have a decent 2022, and then just an explosive 2023 because people are going to need to buy them.
Right on. And that's leading right into the halving in 2024. And I think it would be at a time when people least expect it because the market rarely does what the majority is thinking, right? Tell my audience more about where can they find Faith Tribe, and tell me more about the tokenization of your company and how people can be involved.
Sure, absolutely. Let me hit the second part of your question first, because
absolutely.
So one of our biggest pride points. Okay, so Justin, I am an example of a project where we are, I don't want to call it blockchain refugees. Okay, we're an established company with revenue, markets, cash flow, and blockchain is our solution. Okay. I differentiated from very good projects, but very different. The ones that are just great entrepreneurs with an idea that just want to, raise capital in order to manifest their idea. For us, the best call for capital and the best partners and the best community happen to be from the blockchain. So for us, we're an established company embracing the blockchain and launching our own currency, as opposed to a Series A or any other form of funding that we could get. Now, we are a full utility token. Faith Tribe owners do not own Faith Connexion. Faith Connexion is going to be the native brand because, we go with the SEC rules very strictly. We have great American investors who coached us on this, obviously. But the Faith Connexion will always be the parent brand that teaches the Faith Tribe ecosystem or coaches them, gives them the resources. The Faith Tribe is all about independent designers and artists. And so 75% of our tokens between now and 10 years, and it's locked 5 billion tokens for now for 10 years, all that's going to the community. It's going to designers, street artists, bloggers and marketers, our influencers. If I can get a top 10 celebrity, which we're going to announce hopefully very soon, that person is no longer just going to be available for Faith Connexion. That person can be available for Faith Tribe. And I want you to think of, I don't know, I can't, America's Got Talent. So if we're going to be the world's got talent in fashion, from these independent, and we've been doing this for 21 years, but now we've got the scale. From these independent designers, you're going to get some of these future stars. And we're going to accelerate their ability to be recognized by the celebrities and the influencers and the fashion shows and Paris Fashion Week, et cetera, that we've been doing for 21 years. So Faith Tribe, FTRB, the coin hasn't launched yet. It'll launch in the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're now selecting which launchpad we want to be a part of. We are gaining capital from, I think the best VC funds in the world. And money, funny enough, we're doing deals with the VC funds for the fertilization, or the cross-marketing with the companies, et cetera. Money is not what we need. That's the benefit of being an established company with a 21-year track record. And frankly, our private equity fund has funded the company very well. And so money is not really what we need. We want to be on the blockchain. We want to be introduced to your community, Justin. I don't mean your community of viewers, but the community at large and your viewers, so we can attract the best talent. The technology that we're building is already established. So we have all the technology tech companies, many of which I'm invested in our private equity firms, in our private equity firm. So people say, what's the most difficult? Is it building the 3D design tools, the NFT minting, the on-demand manufacturing? We have all that. For me, the most difficult thing, Justin, is to be really out there, to go to every fashion school, introduce all these students and new designers and independents to be able to be in the business of fashion through our ecosystem. That to me is the biggest hurdle. So what do I need? I need reach. I need guys like you to spread the word, and I need great VC funds who have great companies who can further entrench our ecosystem and our network. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense. I appreciate the breakdown of how that works, and I think we can all help. If anyone has any questions they would like to direct Wahid, be sure to drop comments right down below, and of course we'll do our best to address all we can. Also include all your links so they can check out the Faith Tribe and learn more about the tokenization, and as well as Faith Connexion. I'll include all that in the show notes below the video in the description. So be sure to support him. I think it's a great project. And once again, I appreciate you coming out here and sharing with my audience. I think a lot of people definitely interested in learning more.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And of course, I'm wishing you a very blessed 2022. Thank you so much for joining us today, and just have a great day there, Wahid.
Thank you so much, Justin. It was terrific. Thank you.